Hey, my name is Elizabeth Gunter, and I was given Scenario 5. The Gifted and Talented program in a school district is being cut during a school board meeting due to one school board member's concern that the program is elitist. So, for this scenario, I'm going to use my husband to play the school board member who is reading out his proposal for why the gifted program should be cut, and then I will play the role of the special projects coordinator who is speaking at a school board meeting against the removal of the gifted and talented program.
Dear Enterprise Board of Education, it has been brought to my attention that the school system's gifted and talented program is unfair and biased towards students. Students who are deemed better or smarter than other students receive special treatment and recognition. All of the top performing students are put together, forming an elitist group that creates a hierarchy amongst the students in the school system. How is it fair for other teachers and students who are left with the classrooms full of students who are not smart enough to qualify? This creates low morale and negative self-esteem amongst students not receiving services. By identifying children as gifted, you're also identifying other children as non-gifted. What effect does this have on the psyche of a child to be told she is not good enough? There is an overrepresentation of higher socioeconomic white children in gifted programming, meaning that there is an underrepresentation of minority and or lower socioeconomic children. Tests are written in a language that are not native to some of the students in the district, so naturally it is almost impossible for EL students to qualify. Not only this, children from higher socioeconomic status tend to have more exposure to experiences which can give them knowledge others were not privy to. This can give some children an advantage on tests, especially the younger grades. Students in the gifted and talented program are more socially acceptable and are more prepared for higher level courses. Students who are excluded from the gifted and talented program are shunned and at an academic disadvantage. This is why we should eliminate the gifted and talented program from our school system.
Dear Enterprise Board of Education, I am here to address the removal of our gifted and talented program and to lay out why gifted programs are not elitist. When you have a vast variety of abilities in the classroom, it can be very difficult to meet all of the students' needs. A student with an 80 IQ and a student with a 130 IQ are going to have a different approach to a lesson. We challenge teachers with simply differentiating in the classroom, a magical term that means to tailor the lesson to fit each of their levels. There are some teachers who are very skilled at differentiating in the classroom, but most times what ends up happening is the teacher teaches to the middle. This is not fair to all of the students in the classroom. The way to combat elitism is to have a process for selection that is as objective as possible. It needs to be based on ability rather than behavior. The use of a nationally normed test to identify gifted students using clear criteria is one of the most important ways to determine placement in gifted programming. Enterprise Schools uses a multiple criteria method for identifying students for the gifted and talented program. Multiple criteria provide educators with a defensible and logical way to be inclusive in their search for various types of expressions of potential gifted performance, yet restricted enough so that decisions made about students with extraordinary ability are exclusive enough to be meaningful. Our school's gifted and talented program uses two different forms of intelligence tests: the Stanford-Binet Intelligence Scale and the WISC-5. Enterprise also uses nonverbal intelligence tests that assess nonverbal reasoning to identify gifted students from diverse backgrounds who may not be achieving as well in school because of language or cultural or economic disadvantage. Parents, students, and teacher nominations are also considered. Our gifted and talented program uses the Fraser Talented Assessment Profile, or FTAP, to make assessments fair for disadvantaged and minority groups. The FTAP is based on 10 characteristics of gifted persons: high motivation, special interests, communication talent, problem solving, memory, inquiry, insight, reasoning, imagination, creativity, and humor. This shows the vast amount of characteristics assessed for the gifted program. We do not merely select smart students. Our program's philosophy is anyone with knowledge of students' abilities may refer a student for the gifted program. Parents or the referring person should contact the child's classroom teacher, guidance counselor, or principal to discuss the referral of a child for the gifted program. This shows that anyone can be referred. A gifted referral team at each school receives and reviews for gifted services. The team decides the disposition of each referral based upon available information. If the team accepts the referral, parents will be contacted for permission to gather the information necessary to make an eligibility determination. Enterprise City Schools teachers, faculty, and staff believe that gifted children and youth deserve the opportunity to achieve their highest aspirations and develop to their fullest potential. The clarion call for today's educators makes it necessary for gifted children to have the opportunities to learn at a level matching their abilities, interests, and intellectual vigor. These are things Enterprise City Schools' Gifted and Talented program are already doing to ensure that selection for the program is unbiased and fair. Getting rid of gifted and talented programs is a bad idea. The result would be an even larger divide between students of different socioeconomic backgrounds. Cutting access to gifted education programs won't level the playing field, it will only tilt the game in favor of the wealthy. Families that can afford to will switch schools in order to ensure that their children are still challenged in the classroom. Cutting gifted programs is a failure to recognize that every child learns differently. Special needs programs provide many different pathways for children to access academic curriculum. For example, many children and their families work with schools to develop an individualized education program or IEP. IEPs set goals for the child's learning needs and provide support to meet those goals, such as finding the right classroom for the child to learn in, access to a special education teacher, and language and behavior management support. Gifted students and special needs students both come with their unique set of challenges, but both are vulnerable to missing out on their full potential in the traditional classroom. We should want to meet the needs of all students, and the more specialized the education, the better, whether it's an advanced student or a student who needs more attention. These are just a few of the reasons why we need a gifted program here in Enterprise City Schools, and the removal of our gifted and talented program would be a hindrance to providing the best education for all of our students.